Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I'm your host, Alex Reevy, along with the Venus visionary herself, Sandy Reevy.
Hi, Venus star point is the key.
It is episode 348, the week of March 24th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we start off today, the 24th, Mercury retrograde, cazimi the sun.
Try listening.
Tuesday, the 25th, Mercury retrograde, sextile Pluto.
Words have power.
Then Sandy's favorite day, Thursday the 27th, Venus retrograde, ingress Pisces.
Back to her safe space.
And Venus retrograde, conjunct Neptune.
Think of all the possibilities.
Saturday the 29th, solar eclipse and new moon at 9 degrees of Aries.
Ooh, packs a punch. Safety second.
Then Mercury retrograde, ingress Pisces.
Return to calm, please.
And Mercury retrograde, conjunct Neptune.
Get out your photos of the past.
And winding up the weekend with Sunday the 30th, Neptune ingress Aries.
Huh? What? A radical, huh?
Then on the horizon, we have our Patreon community. We would love for you to join our Venus cazimi Sun Talisman workshop and our retreats. Then in our house, I have a very special Aries astrology meditation for you, bringing in the new year with new meditations.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one, you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river, wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you.
Hello, Venus visionary.
Yes, I've been Venus star pointing all day and all night.
Right.
And actually, we've got this Venus star point, which is the midpoint of the 40-day, 40-night cycle. So we're halfway done.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the 20-day mark.
Awesome. And yeah, so that's that Venus star point talisman workshop that we'll discuss later. And we will have some talismans available extra. If you missed the sign up or you missed the event, we have some extras. All right, so let's get into the transits where we start off the week today, Monday the 24th, with Mercury retrograde, cazimi the sun.
So here we are. It's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's at 4 degrees of Aries. It's early Aries. That Aries is wanting to talk fast. Aries is first, saying something first, maybe putting your foot in your mouth. We hear that like talk first, impulsive, right. Walk first, talk, while you're walking as fast as you can, right? But it's retrograde and it's caziming the sun. So this makes me think that we should be listening. Try listening, turning up the dial in your hearing aids called your ears. It may give you new ideas through new conversations that you could be listening. So many times, and I'm part of this trap that I think I know what somebody's going to say, and so I preempt it by possibly even saying it out loud, or thinking that's what they're going to say, so I move on to another subject, and it is not what they were going to say. I've learned my Mercury's in Pisces, so I'm like half in and half out of what they're saying anyway.
Right.
I'm wandering in the whole mess of them talking, but really it's about what new ideas need to be, recalled, remembered, reconversed, because it's got the retrograde. And when we get this cazimi of any planet that is going into the heart of the sun is a clarity. It's a clean, clear, crisp. It's like talking into the microphone very clearly, right? With no white noise or white light or darkness.
No. Right.
Yeah. So try listening here on Monday the 24th. And yeah, see what's going on in your head.
All right. So Tuesday, March 25th, Mercury retrograde sextile Pluto.
So here now Mercury's moving back, right? From 4 on Monday degrees down to 3 degrees. And words have power. This is the second of 3 passes because we hear Mercury retrograde. So he's hitting or aspecting the sextile. And sextile does say you have opportunity. There's a powerful word you could say, or advice. But also, too, remember, are you asked for your advice, or you are just trying to fix someone else's problem, right? Or coming up with a solution that nobody asked you for a solution. They just wanted to vent. So words have power. Be careful how you use it. The first time here was March 5th. And the last time will be April 21. So we've got some time here. So have you spoken out of turn recently, possibly? Is it time to reflect on what you said? Maybe there's a mea culpa, for kind of a, man, I'm sorry if I overstepped your boundaries. I thought I could lend a suggestion, and I'm not holding you to it. It was just a suggestion. Because your words have power.
Right. Absolutely.
So watch what you say. It's a sextile, so it doesn't think you can hurt so much, but you might overgive.
Mm-hmm. So a big first theme of this week is communication.
Yeah.
When to listen, when to be very cautious of the word choice or the words that you're using or imposing. So let's move on to Thursday, March 27th, and this is your favorite day, Venus retrograde ingress Pisces.
Because when it ingresses Pisces from the Aries point, the 0, it hits my sun. I'm a 29-degree Pisces sun, so this Venus comes over, and Venus is exalted in Pisces. And so she really goes from this Aries point where she is in detriment. She does not like being in the sign that is ruled by Mars, this action hero type thing. So she moves back into her safe space. Now, she on February 4th, she first moved out of Pisces, and she moved in to Aries, where, like I said, she's in detriment. She can feel alien here. She can feel a bit off. She likes to be receiving, right? She likes to have her cup and hit someone fill her cup up, right? And someone to put a blanket over her and tuck her in. And when she is in the sign of Aries, she has to do it all herself. She has to get up, get the blanket, fill her cup up. So she is this active. You have Venus in Aries, and so you do offer a lot of your gifts out front, right? Like you do receive because you've got someone that gives, right? A lot. But that might not have been where your natural nature is, where you want to constantly go out and get what you want. So here she's moved back into Pisces. She needs to capture that peaceful feeling again, that she's home and high regard. And I like this because she's sitting on my sun, right? She's with my sun, and she'll come back here again for another visit on her forward movement, which is not until in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this is like a good time for reflecting on love and peace.
Yeah, and things that might have started when she was in Aries, or things that you said you wanted, it's a good time to would that make me feel satisfied or content? Will that create a peaceful setting for me? How do I want to set that up? Whatever it is, I'm actively, like for me, I'm putting a deck up on my rooftop, right? So I'm like calling the guy, I'm getting my proposals.
That's that Aries.
Right? Yeah, like let's go, get over here, you're an hour late, all these things. And then when she goes into Pisces, it'll be more like, oh my gosh, how do I want to set up my beautiful, peaceful setting, right? Let me not be so active and action oriented. She's retrograde anyway, right? And so it's the RE words.
Okay. So we're reflecting on
and reflecting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. So same day, Thursday the 27th, we also have Venus retrograde conjunct Neptune.
And so again, here she is. This is all at 29 degrees because boom, She moved back from a 0. The next degree backwards is 29 Pisces. And so, boom, just a couple hours later, she meets up with Neptune. And this is the second of 3 passes. This is think of all the possibilities. Again, vision yourself. Where are you? How are you? Who are you? Who are you with? All of these things. How do you feel? What is your, Venus and Neptune in Pisces will want to find out where is your safe escape, right? Not all escapisms are healthy or wise, right?
But there are many that are wonderfully creative and progressing, like that help progress you to a next level.
And I think for that spiritual place of Pisces, I know my personal, what I've been doing with all of this happening, on my Neptune on my sun, Saturn coming on my sun, these 2 retrogrades on my sun, is really getting into deep meditation. I also started drumming. I started my shamanic drumming class. So I am actively moving on something that I've been wanting to do for a while.
That has to do with music and the undercurrents of feelings and the ability to connect to that kind of like emotional, creative state.
It's really interesting. We've only had 1 lesson, and we're really learning that the drum is a heartbeat, right? Mm-hmm. And you can do the bass heartbeat. You can there's a rhythm, and that's what Pisces wants, right? There's this rhythmatic. That's why poetry is so good. Mm-hmm. One of the students asked if we're going to learn chanting with our drums, and she said, yes, there's a way you can chant across your drum.
Oh, very cool.
Things I've never known about a drum.
It's kind of opening up a new world for you.
Yeah, and how to hold the drum, what it's made of, how many different little kind of hammers or taps or brushes you could use for different sounds. It's becoming a whole new creative, spiritual
endeavor
world. And so that's what I'm doing.
And that's funny that of course it is, because you said think of all the possibilities. That's the theme of this transit. Is like you can chant across your drum. You can hit your drum on the low tones or the higher tones, and think of all the possibilities. Really, when you start delving into these, art forms, you can find that there are so many possibilities. So
it's just kind of wild. There are literally on this day 5 planets in Pisces, all within 5 degrees of each other. And that's the moon, because the moon gets here. Mm-hmm. So the moon is here. Saturn is here. Neptune is here. The sun is not here, but it's on my sun. Mercury and Venus, they're all within 5 degrees of this 29-degree area of Pisces. So it's kind of like, are you feeling the rhythm? Seriously.
Yep. So let's move on to Saturday, the 29th. We have 3 transits on this day. The first is a solar eclipse and new moon at 9 degrees Aries.
All right. 5:58 a.m. Of course, it's a new moon. We will not see it. It's a solar eclipse where the sun is eclipsed, where the moon crosses in front of the sun. And this is not a total. It's a partial. And if I follow Bernadette Brady. She is my girl for my eclipse wise woman for the eclipse, the queen of eclipses. And she has a whole book out on it. And she has multiple books out on her fixed stars. So she is my mentor in those 2 fields. Mm-hmm. She writes that this is Zero Cycle 149. This is called 9 New North. And this is very physically expressive. Now, this is a beware, because I titled this Packs a Punch, Safety Second. Right? That's kind of like,
unpack that.
That's a little different than what we have been taught, right?
It's always safety first.
Very physically expressive. So she quotes, Bernadette quotes that accidents, great physical effort, possible violence, or any sudden physical event may come about during this solar eclipse. However, but not to hide. Don't go running for the cave. Not to hide. Instead, undertake some physical activity. You want to ignite this, she's saying. What's interesting is this moon is making a sextile, the sun and the moon are making a sextile to Jupiter, right? And so it's like this ignition. It's kind of this like, it kind of, now as soon as I say that, I'm thinking it's when we were in the hot air balloon over the temples of Luxor in Egypt. And we weren't having this. That was it was during the last eclipse season in October of last year. But it reminds me of doing something, like, snowboarding or water skiing. She said, do something that has a bit of
risk involved,
effort, but do it with experience, some experience, or somebody that's experienced, or that you've had a lesson or two, right? But I'm thinking of the hot air balloon when we went up. I'd never been in one. You have to wake up at Jesus, Lord, and Mary 2:30 in the morning and get across the Nile in 4 different feluccas. And we don't know what's going on. We're all like looking at each other. Pitch dark. We're hoping we're in the right spot. And we get over and we see that there's like 45 balloons that aren't deflated and they're laying on the ground. And ours went up, right? They say ignition fire on this big thing, and all the fire goes off into these hot air balloons, and they all start rising, standing upright, and then we're hurrying to get into our baskets, which I'm like, huh?
To go fly up
and
in the air.
And then we fly up, and it's our out of 45 balloons, ours lands in a restricted area
where they were
doing an excavation, which was secure, and they're yelling at us with these arms, and we're scraping the sand, the desert.
Yeah, you don't have a rudder or anything.
And the guy's like whoosh, whoosh with his hands because something, I don't know, we had to get guys. We had about 40 young men that came running to us and helped us get across the street. And we all just were like helpless in the basket. I'm taking videos. I'm like, okay, this is fun. It was funny.
Safety second.
But safety second. So when as soon as I said that word ignition, because it's Aries, right? I was remembering of this hot fire that every time he would ignite this lever, anybody in the basket, particularly those that were directly under the balloon, were just like whoosh.
Yeah, it's hot.
Melting the mascara off.
So then for this solar eclipse and new moon, this is a really wonderful time to kind of set an intention or something in action that has to do with heightened energy, lots of physical activity. Is that what I'm picking up?
Yeah, yes and no, because the moon is going to cross the sun. So the moon is softening the sun. Right? The sun loves being Aries. Sun is exalted in Aries. And the moon is taking some of this power away, and may be where, it's like whatever it is you want to do, plan it with a bit of experience, get some lessons around it, right? Don't just go down the black diamond.
Right.
Because you've never gone down it before.
Right.
And you haven't skied.
Take some baby steps.
You were in high school. So, but it is doing something that you're doing something, and you're making sure you're watching around, that there are no holes in the sidewalk, that there are no things you could topple over,
right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me a little bit about the Fool card in the tarot deck, where it's kind of like he's just ready for the next adventure, and he's just looking up and walking, and it looks like he's walking off a cliff because he's just ready for
the next
adventure.
Right. Which it kind of makes sense, especially when you're saying safety second.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe what's first is that sense of adventure. Because sometimes when we put safety first, it's, well, let's not do it at all because
Right.
it's too scary or it's risky. So yeah, safety second. Go and get your adventures, because you always know that there will have to be some sort of safety involved, but not too much where it totally dampens your excitement to go and do it.
Or injures you. You know, we have to think that eclipses are the dramatic closing of one door and a dramatic opening of another. So there is an ending and a beginning here, right? So it's, if you could go zip lining, right? Although I don't know where you go around here. But you could plan it, right?
Right. So let's move on to the next transit, the second transit of Saturday, Mercury retrograde ingress Pisces. So Mercury retrograde is now following up with Venus retrograde.
Yeah.
And is now in Pisces as well.
Mercury is just really following. They don't meet up again until January of next year. But they're so in cahoots really closely. We can see like that's 3 days apart, right? Well, 2 days apart. But when he moves back into Pisces around 9 p.m., he's going to want to return to calm. You know, Mercury in Aries, or any planet in Aries, is just... We have to think, too, which I didn't mention earlier, that Aries, Mars is out of bounds. Mars is out of bounds until, like, April next month. So when Mars is out of bounds, when it's the ruler of something, like this solar eclipse, that's part of this, injury or accidents or physical effort, because Mars just wants to go. He wants to go off the beaten path and go off the, out of bounds. He wants to go rogue, right? And so now here we have Mercury coming back into Pisces and is saying, let's calm down a little bit. Let's go into a really reflective period, write a story about your future self or a poem. Get out of your logical brain. Feed the right brain. And I mean RIGHT. Or I mean WRITE, right? And not the righteous brain. Just feed the creative side of you, right? Yeah. What will you feed your right brain?
Yay. Okay, so we will return to calm, please. So let's move on to the third transit of Saturday the 29th, Mercury retrograde conjunct Neptune.
All right? Boom.
Following Venus's shoes again.
So when I said get out the photo book, please, of the past, obviously, of your childhood memories of something, remember your lived life. Right? I really like this. And, you can look at this and just get this, I'm just imagining this for me, Miss Pisces, right? Mercury in Pisces. I can just get this feeling of, oh my gosh, my lived life so far is I'm doing fantastic.
Right.
It's like fantastical. Look at all these things that we have done. We may not be doing currently, but we did it when you were, I did a baby doll birthday cake for you. I'm not doing that anymore.
Rude.
Those things of, sit around, or if you're by yourself, just take pictures, be the mom or be the parent or be the person that's taking pictures and zipping it out to people, right? Share some of those memories. It's just, you're doing good. You're doing fabulous.
Yes.
I just really like that peaceful, calm.
Yeah, and everything's okay. And a lot of our lack, when we actually critically look at it, it's all in our mind, right?
Yeah.
So That is a good reminder. Look
Well-
at your photo albums. Take a look at just the memories and all the good that has been in your past, and ground there. Start with that gratitude from there, and start your day out from
Yeah.
this like wholesome, wonderful life that you've gotten to live.
You are that person.
Right. And you can
may look
continue.
a little different.
You'll continue to create those memories over and over again. They won't be the same because we change, but
And 10 years from now, you'll look back at these days,
Right,
right? So
of
don't
course.
forget to document.
Start making the memories
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. And one other thing it makes me think of, because, Andrew, your brother, my son, who's got his own golf company, right? His own golf lesson, and super busy.
Right.
And he's saying, hey, you guys, I need some more photographs.
Right.
Right? And you are his photographer, and you live 400 miles away. And I said, hey, Andrew, what about if I go through, which is all in the storage unit, but maybe I do it on this day, on next Saturday, where I go to the storage unit and just sit with a chair and a flashlight and go through some of his old golf.
We could do a timeline on his website of
Right.
all of his successes
Because
throughout his life.
he traveled around the world doing golf tournaments,
Yeah,
and
he was
from the time he
extremely
was
talented.
like 6 years old.
Yeah.
So I think that would be fun for some of his clients to see, oh, this kid has been in golf since he was really kind of 3 years old,
Yeah.
is when he played his first.
Oh, that would be cool.
Went to his first driving range
I
and
love
played
that.
the first 8 or 9 holes at age of 5.
Yes. That's cool.
So I think that would be fun.
That'd be great.
That'd be great. I'm going to do that day.
Yeah.
I'm going to write it down now.
Okay. And let's move to the final transit of the week, Sunday the 30th, Neptune ingress Aries.
Hold on here.
Is this going to be a not so crescendo moment?
Oh, it's a crescendo moment. I just want to go get my drums out.
Okay.
This happens at 7 in the morning, and it's on Sunday. And I call this, what? That's a radical, because Neptune, one of the second slowest planet in our solar system, is moving into a new sign.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be big.
And not even just a new sign. The very first sign of the zodiac, and not only the first sign of the zodiac, it crosses the world point. So we just experienced Pluto bouncing back in from, Capricorn, where it had been for 20-ish years, and moving into Aquarius, and then back, and then it moved like 5 times. And now Pluto is permanently in Aquarius. He's at 3 already of Aquarius. So we had one major planet, that's the slowest moving planet in our solar system, move into a new sign. And look what we've got here. There's a lot going on in our world. A lot of switches, changes, disruptions. That's kind of the Uranus. Ideologies are not, they're off like fireworks, right? But now here comes Neptune into the new sign, and we may not understand what or where we are. We may not recognize the world. We're beginning to see that as we look around, right? So let's kind of go over this. So here we are, March 30th. Neptune moves into Aries. He moves back into Pisces October 22nd, because he'll be retrograde, right? So he'll be moving back into Pisces. He then, on January 26th of 2026, he will move past that, go into Aries for the final time. Okay. Now, he'll stay here until 2038. So, what is that?
That's a long time.
That's 12 years. Sometimes he'll stay in a sign for like 15 or 16 years. But this one, he's in Aries. He's going to move fast. He's going to move faster. I just kind of, Neptune is the planet of, it's the trident, right? He's the spiritual, he is the compassionate, he is the healer, he is the escape artist. He is could be the planet of self-undoing. But when he moves into, and he likes being in Pisces, so he likes being where he's been for the last
It's
16
home.
years. Yeah, it's home. So now he, like Venus, like Mercury, like all these
the sun.
planets moving into early Aries. It's just the hot spot in the sky right now.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the last time he went into Aries, which was 1861 to 1874. And I really think we should do a little quick webinar on this at some point, because this is massive. I want to just mention the few big things that happened during those times. So we're going to watch things about inventions, things that are Mars ruled, because Mars rules Aries, and Mars is still out of bounds here. So Mars is really trying to get Neptune to do things that are really I'm wondering if we will have some, water episodes, water disasters, if we think here. But I want to go over 1861 to 1874. So that 13-year cycle were the invention of dynamite.
Oh, wow.
Does that make sense?
Explosive.
Right. The machine gun.
Wow.
The typewriter. The United States Civil War. Women's suffragettes. Genetics was discovered. And the big Chicago fire. So there's this new thing, this newness, that we can't even imagine what that is quite yet. Right? But it's going to be pioneering a new religious, philosophical concept. Something about a sense of mission that needs to be fulfilled. Where sometimes missions are constantly ongoing, they morph, but it's always for a main, we talk about companies having mission statements, right? And vision statements. We have one, right? We did that several years ago. But this is where that mission needs to we need to purposely move that quickly. It has to be fulfilled. It has to be satisfied.
Yeah.
That may be a little bit, elbows out, trying to rush to get to the finish line a bit quicker, right? So we have to think about, wow, who's trying to get ahead? Self-awareness, self-creativity, but also could bring in, because Neptune can bring in some of the devious falsities, could bring in a false pride. This could be egotism, narcissistic, where I'm this, and I'm showing my fake cigarette.
Right.
Get out of my way. It's kind of Devil Wears Prada kind of thing, where she thinks she's helping or teaching or advising the young girl, and she's just an egotistical bagar, right? So really pay attention to what is happening. We're already seeing, because what we could say is like that bubble has popped, and I say that very last degree of Pisces, the 29 Pisces, that is the bottom of the barrel. It's the end. It's just the end.
Yeah, it's like the close to completion, or the completion
it's a completion date. Which, i.e., this is parentheses, is why I weirdly have a realization some years ago when I got the message, the whisper in my ear, that I have this power to make talismans when the energy is currently active right now, and in an hour or a half hour or 10 minutes it's going to be gone. It's going to be all new again. And so that is kind of this energy where I can put energy into something that's an innate object that turns it alive again, right? But end of paragraph, or end of parentheses. But it's also about starting something brand new, right? And so that bubble's already been popped, because the sun went across there at the Aries ingress, which was the first day of spring. Now we have the new moon, which is a solar eclipse, just the day before this, kind of popped through that from the end to the beginning. We have the Venus and Mercury that have been doing that back and forth. We have Saturn coming in to do that soon.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this, is there a hole, right? Is there a hole in the water that's trying to put the fire out? Or is the fire now trying to push the water? They don't blend, right? They don't blend. They're not harmonious, water and fire.
Right.
So there's a spiritual urge versus an escapist urge. Like I said, drum, chant, sing. I've another thing that I don't know if you want to do your meditation today, or I want to read something, or I want to read something from Ernest Holmes. I took a class. In fact, it was in 2017 because I have which was 8 years ago, which that's so weird because this is a Venus star point time. We're recording this on the cazimi date. I have this book. It's a big, fat, thick book that I studied. I went to a class when I was at the Bodhi Center, the Unity Spiritual Church service. And he's a spiritual guru, Ernest Holmes. And he wrote this in 1926 and then wrote an updated version in 1938, something like that. And this is a book that has both of them in. That's why it's so fat. Anyway, the other day I was like, where is that book? I have an interest, an urge. I want to look at that book again. And so I found it. And every night I read from it. And I just open up a page and start reading. And holy wow, it is all of this.
Very cool.
So I would like to read.
Yeah, what if we read it?
I want to just read it's kind of my mantra during I started it on my birthday, knowing that all these planets are finishing up and beginning again. That I think we need to hold on to something worth holding on to for ourselves, because we have to be the bigger, all linked together, all souls linked together into one big soul, one big ball of beautiful spiritual gifts. So we can do it individually and group together.
Okay.
All right.
That's our week ahead. You can, of course, follow along with these transits personally. You can download the astrology guide if you're a little bit curious about what the symbols mean or what the houses mean. You can also download your natal chart if you want to look a little bit deeper into that. And also, of course, you can always get a one-on-one private reading with Sandy. So remember to head over to our website, intentionbeads.com, for any of those. Then let's move onto the horizon, where we have our Patreon community that we would love. It's an open invite, and just for $5 a month, you can get all of these transits in a PDF version as well as a video version where Sandy and her fellow astrologer Susan Goodell get together and explain in detail, and you get to see it from two astrologers' perspectives. And also we have our Venus cazimi Sun Talisman workshop that we have completed all of these beautiful talismans. And if you want to jump on board, the talisman intention is, let me pull it up real quick. To
be worthy of my own self-love and my own acceptance.
Yes. And then you get to write the affirmation. And so if you are interested in having one of these talismans for yourself, head over to our website. The link is in the show notes. Then I'll do a quick synopsis of our Tuscany, Italy retreat that's coming up October 2025. The link to find out more is in the show notes. And if you are interested, you can always get a 15-minute call with Sandy to dive in deeper into the details and what is it going to take for you to get there, and any other questions that you might have. So without further ado, let's get into our house, where you have something that you would like to share. And then we'll get into the Aries meditation I have for you.
So Ernest Holmes is the, and this is in the 1900s, right? So it seems like so far away.
Mm-hmm.
He advanced the new thought, the teaching, the organization was an Institute of Religious Science. So it's an 800-page book, but I found this kind of mantra, and I say this every evening before I go to bed, and it's called the Shining Path. The pathway of life shines before me unto the perfect day. I want to cry here too. Let me start over. The pathway of life shines before me unto the perfect day. I walk the pathway of the soul to the gate of good. I enter into the fulfillment of my desires. Nothing need be added to, and nothing can be taken away from the all good which is forever expressing itself in me. Daily shall I recognize its great blessings, and my soul shall rejoice forevermore. I am now entered into my good.
It's beautiful. It's a great start to a day. Holy cow. Powerful words.
Or an ending to the day.
Right,
as I
or
do
an
it.
ending
But,
to the day.
oh my gosh, and I just sometimes open this up and start reading.
Do you want to give us a
You want
little
to do another
snippet?
one?
Sure.
You want to do another one? Do you want peace, poise, and power? Or stillness and receptivity? You want
Peace, poise, and power.
Okay. Peace, poise, and power are within me, for they are the witnesses of the inner spirit of all truth, love, and wisdom. I am at peace within me, and all about respond to the great calm of the inner soul, which knows its rightful place in the all good. Power is born from within me and passes into my experience without effort or labor. I rest in security and peace, for the inner light shines forth and illuminates the way. I rest in thee.
They're beautiful words, my goodness, and such great meaning.
Woo! So, really, this I think is part of my, my birth year, my solar return year, is to really
your new routine.
Kind of getting into this because the Neptune is doing some things, and we're moving into a whole new world. I mean,
a new astrological year. It's the Aries season. We just said goodbye to Pisces. We wrote off the 2024 kind of astrological year, and now we're moving into 2025 and seeing what that looks like. And so I would love to share the Aries meditation that I wrote a little while back, but I've been kind of repurposing it because it's really a great moment of like really noticing that you're at the starting line and what can you do to energize yourself to get going and get out the door.
I want to just say one last thing, and when we get to mid-summer, we're going to have the third slowest moving planet, Uranus, move out of Taurus and move into Gemini. Mm-hmm. So astrologers, we have been watching like, oh my gosh, the three outer planets are moving into new signs all within a 2-year period. What? Mm-hmm. Or a 1.5-year period. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a lot of changes going on. So be present within yourself. Yeah. Know who you are.
Yeah. All right, so let's get the meditation
I'm off the
ready.
bandwagon.
It is a active meditation, so you don't necessarily have to be like in a meditation poised position, but if you'd like to join in, you are more than welcome. All right, let's start it up. Welcome to the Zodiac Sign series. We are beginning with the always first Aries. This archetypal sign is cardinal fire. So let's break that down. Cardinal is the initiator, the starting point, the initial act of beginning. The fire element is exactly as we experience it. Hot, quick to spark or spread, difficult to sustain, and can selfishly burn up earthly resources. It is the most energetic of the elements. When we put these two together, we get a sign that is unlike any other. Aries, the only cardinal fire. This archetype is the first to act, fueled by immense drive and energy, and has little regard for the judgment of others. Aries is represented by the ram. Head down, the ram scrapes its hooves into the earth and without hesitation bursts into a sprint towards the target. This Aries archetype is able to blaze a path head first, charging forward without fear or limitation, intensely focused on the target ahead. We all have this Aries energy within us. So let's hit the ground running, charging forth courageously to seize the day. This is an active meditation, so there is no need to sit in place or lie down. During this short meditation, you can be in movement, driving in the car, on a walk, or busily working with your hands. All you need is to lend your ear and a bit of attention to the words and prompts. I've collected a list of quotes from a wide range of influential leaders, artists, and authors, names that you may know and others you may not. The one connecting thread is that each quote has been inspired by the Latin phrase carpe diem, which means to pluck the day or seize the day. Use this meditation to focus on the present, appreciate the value of every moment, and avoid postponing things unnecessarily. Because as we know, every day and every life ultimately comes to an end. As I read these Carpe Diem quotes, ponder them, embody them, be inspired by them. Let's begin. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. Bringing people into the here and now, that is the real universe. That's the only present moment. The past is no good to us, and the future is full of anxiety. Only the present is real and useful. Saul Bellow. Make each day your masterpiece. John Wooden. Today is the day you've been waiting for. Marty Rubin. The future depends on what you do today. Gandhi. Go for it now. The future is promised to no one. Wayne Dyer.
You will never find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it. Charles Buxton. You've never lived this day before, and you never will again. Make the most of it. An unknown author. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Walt Disney. Your life isn't behind you. Your memories are behind you. Today is a new day. Seize it. Steve Maraboli. Forever is composed of nows. Emily Dixon. Why not just live in the moment, especially if it has a good beat? Goldie Hawn. God gave us the gift of life. It is up to us to give ourselves the gift of living it well. Voltaire. Don't count the days. Make the days count. Don't be fooled by the calendar. There are only as many days in the year as you make use of. Charles Richards. And one last quote for a good laugh. Seize the moment. Remember all those women on the Titanic who waved off the dessert cart. Irma Bombeck. Now, right now is your starting point. This Aries archetype is within you, and it is up to you to focus on the target and charge forward. How will you activate this part of yourself today? You are at your starting gate. 3, 2, 1, go.
And that is a wrap for today's episode, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening into our podcast. It is wonderful. Remember to share and give whatever you can to your day today, because that is what we have. So thanks, everybody, for listening in, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye now.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of